Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sound Bites with Rob Carson on Spoonie Radio. Glad to have you here with me today. I'm new. I'm new to Spoonie Radio. I am not a terribly fresh face, but when it comes to the world of food, I am a comparably, fresh face and fresh voice. I'm a frustrated chef wannabe, talk show host, nationally syndicated comedy writer, cooking video host, and a bunch of other stuff. We came up with the name for the show. It's called Sound Bites for a couple of reasons. I work in radio, and this is an oral media, and so it has sound. See what I did there? I know you're already looking at me and you're going, this guy's a genius. But anyway, it's called Sound Bites, and it's going to be about food news. It's going to be about experts in cuisine. It's going to be about trends and fun and cooking and sharing with you and you sharing with me and all of that stuff. So that said, welcome to essentially the first episode of the show. And I'm going to tell you right now, it is with great pleasure that I introduce my very first guest on my very first show, someone who I have known for a number of years. I call him the Pope of the Pit. He is Meathead Goldwyn. He has put together one of the top-selling cookbooks, one of the best cookbooks in the history of cooking, according to Southern Living Magazine, The Science of Great Barbecue and Grilling. He is Meathead Goldwyn, and he is on the show now. Hello, my friend.
Well, what an honor to be here and be your first guest. But I gotta call you out on something already right away.
What?
Don't play innocent. You say you're just an amateur. You know your food. I've been talking to you on the air on various venues for years. You're not a duffer. So that makes it fun. It's always great for me to talk to somebody who knows a bit about food.
Well, you also have a terrific website, which is AmazingRibs.com. I am constantly sharing your website. Tell us a little bit about AmazingRibs.com, because it has become a massive enterprise.
Wow, it is. It just started as a hobby and grew into a business. It now employs around a dozen people, about half of them full-time, the other part-time, and it is by far the largest, most popular barbecue and grilling website in the world. Several thousand pages of recipes, technique. We are really into science and technique, and we teach a lot of concepts. We do original research. We were the first in the world to identify the causes of the barbecue stall. And then we have product reviews. We got a guy working for us named Max Good, whose sole job is to test grills and smokers.
Wow.
I mean, what a gig.
Wow.
The guy just tests grills and smokers. Got an electrical engineer who tests thermometers. So it's just a really cool place if you're into barbecue and grilling, and there's just a lot of good stuff for anybody who cooks.
Yeah. Now, a couple of things. The other day I saw an episode of your show with a giant blue ceramic smoker. What is that? It is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I love me some green egg, but this thing is a work of art. What is it?
Oh, it's called the Kamado. Kamado is a generic name for these egg-shaped cookers. They used to be all made out of ceramic, which makes them great for cold weather. They really hold a lot of heat, and they're very efficient. They don't use a lot of charcoal. The Big Green Egg is the most famous. There are a number of imitators that have come around since then, many of which I think are better than the egg. Some of them are now made out of steel and insulated, but this particular one is inlaid with beautiful tile. It's really thick, really heavy duty. All the metal is top grade stainless, and it costs an arm and a leg. I think their prices start at around $8,000-$10,000. I don't know.
My Lord, but they are glorious. And you know the thing about this, if you're going to get into it, there are people who spend $10,000 on stoves. If you want something great and you decide you want to commit to it, then why the heck not? Why the heck not? Now, a couple of things I want to move on here real quick. A couple of things that one of your mantra, your original mantra to me, which I have shared again and again and again and again and again, is if you boil the ribs, the terrorists win. I shared that with a person the other day, a customer of mine who had gone to, San Diego, to a barbecue joint that's supposedly famous, and they boil their ribs, and people in San Diego think that's good. Tell us why it's so awful.
Well, the origin of the practice goes back to Eastern Europe,
Yeah.
where Czechoslovakians and Poles and others typically cook ribs as a stew, and they're boiled along with cabbage and potato, caraway seeds, and it's served in a bowl, and that's their typical process. That's fine, because when you boil something, water's a solvent. That's why you wash your car with it. You wash your hands with it. Water will suck flavor out of meat. If you simmer ribs or boil ribs, you'll notice at the end that the water is brown or tan. That's flavor that you can't get back in. Ribs are best when cooked with dry heat, when they're roasted or smoked or baked, so that the flavor is kept inside the slab of meat. You can still get it tender. When you simmer it or boil it or even steam it, it tends to get mushy. And I think people who really love barbecue, who judge barbecue, expect ribs to have the texture of a steak. They're not going to be mushy. They're not going to fall off the bone. You don't want meat if you want meat that falls off the bone, I guess if you have no teeth, that'd be great. But but you want meat that has some chew to it, a little resistant, a little texture. We don't boil our ribs.
I always say you want pull off the bone, not fall off the bone.
Yes.
I think you've overcooked it tremendously if they're falling off the bone. If your ribs are mushy, awful. Sorry. No, meat's not meant to be that way.
Well, that's, I want to be very broad-minded about this and say taste is a matter of taste, but I prefer dry roasted or smoked meat.
Yeah. Also, the importance of the digital thermometer.
Oh, well, this is a pet peeve. That's another reason why I love talking to you, because you're a great interviewer and you set me up beautifully. But this is another pet peeve of mine. It is the single most important tool in your kitchen outside of your knife.
Thank you.
This is 2019. I almost said 18. Right. This is 2019, and it's the digital age. Look at a medium rare steak is 130 to 135 degrees. You can't tell by the color, especially if you're grilling outdoors at night. You can't tell by poking it or feeling it, because a sirloin feels different than a filet mignon.
That's true.
Anyone who tells you to compare the touch of the steak to the texture of your hand or your nose is just crazy. You stick a digital thermometer into it, and in less than 5 seconds, you know exactly how done it is. And if you want it medium instead of medium rare, you cook it to 135 to 140.
Yes. And it's funny. This is a universal truth. Temperature is science, okay? So your pork butt, when you get it out of, after 15 hours or whatever, it's going to be $1.90, right? It's going to be about
I actually like to take pork butt even higher than that, up to around 200.
Okay, all right. What about chicken?
Well, chicken is, now this is another reason why digital thermometers are crucial. Chicken is a safety risk. The way it is slaughtered and handled, it is often contaminated with salmonella, campylobacter, other types of bacteria, E. coli or stec, and you absolutely must cook chicken to make it safe. And it's safe when you get it up to about 160. USDA says 165, but 160 will do it. But that's well past well done, but you have to get it up that high to get it safe. Unless you want grandma in the hospital on Mother's Day, you use a digital thermometer, and you can't tell by the color of the juices. All the old cookbooks say, you look at the color of the juices between the drumstick and the thigh. That doesn't hold true anymore. They raise chickens differently. The juices are almost always pink, all the way up to 180, 190. You need a digital thermometer for safety, not just for proper doneness.
Yeah, it works, and it works beautifully. And for those of you who think, well, you don't want to poke a steak, all the juices will come out. Bull crap.
No, let me set that straight right now. You take an 8-ounce filet mignon.
Yeah.
Beef is 70% water. That means that 8-ounce filet mignon is 6 ounces of water.
Yeah.
You stick a thermometer in there, and if 5 drops of water come out, there's 7,000 drops left. I mean, you have barely broached it. This is not a you stick it with a thermometer or even with a fork to turn it, you're not going to dehydrate it. It's not going to go and deflate. There's no noticeable loss of liquid when you use a thermometer. It is absolutely required. And by the way, we're talking about it in a generic sense. You can get really good digital thermometers for $30. We have an electrical engineer on AmazingRibs.com. We have special equipment to test thermometers and make sure they're as fast as the manufacturer says they are, they're accurate, and we rate and review them. Go to our site, go to the thermometer testing section, pick one of our gold medals or our Pitmaster awards, go buy it or order it online. We don't sell anything, by the way. We sell nothing. Gotcha. So everything we review is unbiased.
Okay. Before we go any further, my name's Rob Carson. This is Soundbites, talking to Meathead Goldwyn. Meathead, The Science of Great Barbecue and Grilling, one of the top barbecue cookbooks of all time. AmazingRibs.com, his site. And you're familiar with this. Our sponsor is Pit Barrel Cooker. Pit Barrel Cooker came to Kansas City, and when I went to several of the barbecue stores here, they have places that just sell grills, barbecue products, and smokers. And the one that I was taken by when I saw it, and in its simplicity and its beauty, was Pit Barrel Cooker. It's a big barrel. They got a couple of them. They got the big 18.5-inch classic Pit Barrel. You've also got Pit Barrel Junior. All right, I've got both of them, and I'm going to tell you, they are wonderful. They are made by a veteran. He came back from Afghanistan, and he got here, and he and his platoon were welcomed by veterans who made barbecue, and he said, I'm home, I'm home. And he started building these in a garage, and then it grew, and he's making one of the best products out there. If you get a chance to check out pitbarrelcooker.com, please do, pitbarrelcooker.com. This cooker will last you, I swear, the rest of your life. It is a quality. I'm not kidding. You know what I'm talking about, and you're the guy.
Yeah, let me jump in here. I don't want to break into your commercial, but I'm a huge fan of the Pit Barrel Cooker. I mean, there are a lot of people that go out and buy these. They look like a barrel laying on their side, and they have another little barrel attached. They're called offset cookers because they look manly. Yeah. This is a real barrel. It looks manly, but it just cooks circles around the offset cookers. It's so much better. You won't lose any masculinity by using one of these. It looks cool. The best thing is that it's like $300 delivered to your door.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no assembly.
No.
I mean, you just open it up. Fire it up.
You bet. You just literally put the ash pan on the bottom, and then you put the cold thing in there, and then you put the grate in there, and you got hooks so you can hang the meat, so it's completely surrounded with smoke. They also have a classic pit barrel with U.S. military, police, and fire logo plates on it. So that's really...
Oh, really?
Oh, my goodness. You got to see it. It's glorious. Pitbarrelcooker.com. Pitbarrelcooker.com. Now, we're recording this before, I'll just be honest, we're recording this before the Super Bowl. We're recording this, and there are 4 teams left. Before the big game, I should say the big game. Sorry, I'm supposed to, I guess, say it. Whatever, I'm not an official spokesperson, so Super Bowl. But, you know, Meathead and I were talking off air about in traditional gladiatorial combat, and tell me exactly what's happening. You would actually consume your enemy before you fought them. Tell us the story here real quick.
Yeah, as I understand it, I don't know the veracity or which tribes it was, but as I understand it, there were Aboriginal tribes that would capture one of their enemy tribes and cook him and eat him in order to gain his strength. And I guess it's sort of like studying game film, you know. and so I figure if you're going to play the New Orleans Saints, you eat red beans and rice.
Oh, we have to kidnap and eat Drew Brees. Okay, thank you.
There you go. You eat barbecue shrimp and an andouille poor boy.
Okay.
You make andouille sausage so we have recipes for all of these on AmazingRibs.com. If you're playing the Patriots, of course, you got to eat Boston baked beans. You got to do maybe a lobster bisque. A white clam pizza, and now the Rams are easy. Yeah. Any lamb dish will do. lamb loin chops, grilled lamb ribs, lamb burgers, leg of lamb. That's an easy one. And, of course, the other easy one is Kansas City, where you are.
Yes.
I mean, this is the home of barbecue. This is the Constantinople. This is where barbecue is at its epitome. You've got to eat barbecue. There's a classic red sauce from Kansas City, our style of red sauce that all of the country considers barbecue sauce. You got to have Kansas City barbecue sauce, pulled pork, anything you want with a Kansas City sauce on it. So you devour your enemy. You cook for your Super Bowl party food that is from your enemy's city.
I like that. I've been preaching the gospel of Kansas City barbecue around the country for since 1990 when I was in my 20s. And I remember I went to there was a place in North KC that's no longer here. It's called Marty's. And what they do is they bring you your barbecue out on an upside-down trash can lid. And, and they'd surround it with meats. And then in the middle, there'd be a big stack of white bread. And it was glorious. It kind of reminded me, if you ever eaten like some African foods, what they do is they have this spongy bread and they put it in the middle, and then they put all these piles of different meats and legumes and whatnot around it. So it's kind of a little tribal to some degree.
Yeah, actually, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but the idea of putting food on top of bread goes back to the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
It's been done for centuries, and it's very traditional in Kansas City restaurants. I'm sure that I've eaten in a bunch of them. I'm sure that half of them still serve the barbecue sauce on top of white bread.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it at all. So, okay, devour your enemy. That's good. I love it. And let's hopefully, Kansas City will be in the Super Bowl. And well, let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's talk a little bit more.
I'm picking them, pal. I think they're going to beat New England.
Well, Patrick Mahomes is a game changer, and it's remarkable to watch. I'll tell you what, it's remarkable to watch. Now, here's the thing. I was in Missouri in 1985. I was in college. When the Royals last time went to the World Series, I moved back to Kansas City. There had been a drought. Literally, the year I got here, Kansas City won the World Series. I take credit for being the only difference between the two victories was me being in the state. and I think I will do the same for the Kansas City Chiefs, although I was not in Kansas in I think it was 67 or 60, I think it was 67 that Lynn Dawson led the Chiefs to victory in Super Bowl number 4. No, it was 69, Super Bowl number 4. So it's been.
You are dating yourself, you old man. I remember. I remember the first Super Bowl. I'm that old.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's. We're going to wrap things up here in just a couple of seconds. But as far as let's talk about smoking meats. And a lot of people will grill stuff, and grilling is great. Don't get me wrong. We use fire. It's wonderful. But smoke adds a dimension that is remarkable. Whether it be beef, whether it be fish. I'm a big believer in using pecan wood for salmon, and also I use pecan wood for brisket, by the way. But talk a little bit about wood and woods that you use. What do you recommend? Do you mix wood with charcoal? Tell us about your theory on smoking with great wood.
Well, first of all, let's establish that you've got it exactly right when you talk about smoke adds something. Smoke is a really wonderful flavor, and it's helpful to think of it just like another spice from the spice rack. And you can get smoke flavor from a regular old charcoal grill or even a gas grill. Yeah. The key is to set up the grill properly with all your energy on one side. That is to say, all your charcoal or your gas heat on one side, and the other side is off. Yes. And you put the wood on top of the direct flame, and the meat goes on the other side. So it cooks by convection air circulation. And it's great if you have a smoker like the pit barrel you mentioned or another one, any other kind of smoker, but you can do a really good job on a plain old Weber kettle if you set it up properly. And on AmazingRibs.com, we have very good instructions on how to set up your grill or your smoker for smoking. Now, as far as the kinds of wood, you may take issue with me here, Rob, but I think it's overblown. I think that the key, that what's most important is getting good quality meat. What's most important is seasoning it properly. And that means the proper use of salt and the proper use of spices. What's most important is not overdoing the sauce. What's most important is keeping the temperature under control so you're not cooking too hot. When you cook really hot, the proteins shrink and squeeze out the juices, and you end up with dry meat. What's most important is not overcooking it, cooking it too long, and using a digital thermometer to monitor your temperature both of the grill and the food. Those are all more important than what kind of wood you use, because you're not sure what kind of wood you use. Hickory from Arkansas is different than hickory from New York State. And how much bark is in the hickory influences the flavor. And was the hickory air-dried or kiln-dried? Was it a young tree or an old tree? How long has the wood aged? All of this affects its character. I recommend that if you're getting into smoking, you pick one wood and stick with it for a year and get all the other stuff. Temperature control, fire control, amount of smoke, thermometer control, all that stuff. Get all that under control, then play with different kinds of woods.
Yeah. Well, next time, here's why don't you just try smoking some meat with pine trees? Okay, try that.
No.
And then you can tell me the wood doesn't matter. Okay. All right.
Well, all right. You want to choose hardwood or fruit wood.
Yeah.
Those are very tight woods. Those are the best flavor. You don't want to use pine. They're full of terpenes and turpentines. So yes, you're right about that. Don't use pine.
But you can use
use a hardwood or a fruit wood. Yeah. And hickory and mesquite tend to be very strong. Yes. But oak, apple, cherry, those are all good woods to use. There's another factor here, Rob.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
When you pick up a bag of apple wood at Home Depot, it says apple on the label, but there is no appellation contrôlée, which is how they control French wine labeling, or appellation control as they control American wine. You don't know for sure that's oak in the bag. There's no government agency regulating that. And when Home Depot calls the guy who sells them wood and says, we need 5,000 bags of cherry, he goes out into the rickyard where all the wood's stacked and looks at it and says, geez, we only got 2,000 bags out here. Quick, throw some oak on in there with that cherry. Nobody will know the difference. How the hell do you know you're getting oak?
Ye of little faith, how dare you insult the Church of Home Depot? Well, I will tell you, the most dramatic difference that I can tell is you can tell between pecan wood and hickory wood. I don't care what it is, and if I go to Home Depot and I get a bag of pecan, I will know at least there is more pecan than anything in there, and you will get a pecan essence that is unmistakable with regard to salmon. That's my signature dish, by the way, there, Meathead. In case you wanted to know.
Well, I'll qualify myself a little further.
Yes,
wood type flavors, the flavor of different types of wood are more obvious on fish than they are on ribs or pulled pork or brisket. Big, full flavored things, especially things that you're going to use a very flavorful rub on and you're going to use a very strong sauce on. If you're just cooking naked fish, but the other issue there is fish cooks very quickly. So there's not a lot of time for the smoke to influence it.
What you got to do is you got to get that smoke rolling in that cooker real thick, and then you put it in. Fish is going to be done at 225 in 30 minutes. It's going to be done in 30 minutes. And, you might even bring the temperature down a little bit more. You might even do that. So whether it be trout or whether that be salmon, I smoked a bunch of different kinds of fish. So one other thing I wanted to mention, I was trying to think. I lose myself in thought when I talk to you.
No, you're just getting old, Rob, just like me.
Shut up. Come on. This guy the other day, one of my customers came up to me, and he said that he had about 50 or 80 acres of land, and he has all these pecan trees that have been growing on it forever. He used to pick up some of the pecans. Now he doesn't pick them up at all. And I said, can I come out and just pick up pecans. And if any limbs have fallen off those trees, can I have them? Or can I buzz them? So I've got an open invite to go out there and do it. And I said, dude,
wow,
you are sitting,
that's tremendous.
You are sitting on, I think he's sitting on a gold mine out there.
Well, now you know for sure what you're getting. You're not just buying a bag at Home Depot and you have not. You know. And if you folks out there have access to fruit wood or nut wood like that, by all means, get it.
Go get it. Go get it. All right, Meathead, my brother, have a glorious day. Thank you for joining me. And as always, you're the best. You are the best. Thanks.
Well, Rob, we're not on video, but I got a glass of champagne in my hand here, and I'm toasting you and your new venture. This is exactly made for you. You are going to be very, very successful with this show because you know a lot about food and a wide range of it, and I'm sure you're going to get the best guests. Thank you very much for having me on as your inaugural guest, and good luck.
I already got the best guest. All right, buddy. Talk to you soon. God bless. Take care. All right, there you go. There's my Meathead Goldwyn.
Well, that went well.
Yes, it did. Meathead Goldwyn, thanks for joining me today. And before we go any further, I do want to mention another sponsor, okay? Dots Pretzels. Dots Pretzels are made in the Midwest. Now, you may have difficulty if you live outside of the Midwest getting them. You can order them online, but they're really not set up for massive volume with regard to shipping. If you do go to dotspretzels.com, I would suggest you order a number of big bags and have them delivered. These are the best pretzels I've ever had in my life. These are absolutely amazing pretzels. They are buttery. They're garlicky. They are different than anything you've had. They're different than anything you've had. I am addicted to them. My wife has them where she works. They say it's True Value. She works part-time at True Value. They sell them at True Value in the Midwest. Now they're selling them in the Kansas City area at a store called Hen House, and it's expanding. They're the best pretzels you've ever had. Dotspretzels.com, DOTSpretzels.com. Go to their website and check it out. And if you live in the Midwest, look for a store near you that sells these glorious pretzels. They are a gift from God. Dots Pretzels, DOTS Pretzels. They're spectacular. Okay, now listen, I have got a lot of stuff to get to with regard to the news with regard to food, all right? Including, Jillian Michaels. Jillian Michaels is embroiled in a little bit of a heated argument with none other than Al Roker. And Al Roker is a big believer in the keto diet, okay? He's a big believer in the keto diet. Now, I don't know the keto diet from whatever. I really don't. I know it's low carbs because carbs are suddenly evil. And when it comes to we as a country, we always come up with these diets. Let me just do this my inaugural spiel about what I think about the keto diet. I've been, and I hate to say this, I think I've been on a diet about half of my life. In one way, shape, or form, I've been on a diet, and I hate that about me. I really do because struggled with my weight with a kid. As a kid, I work out and everything, and I still would like to have a washboard stomach instead of a washing machine stomach. So I've gone through different diets. So years and years ago, there was a cabbage soup diet. America was so desperate for a diet that they found something that was used by heart patients going into surgery. A month out from surgery, and it was the cabbage soup diet. It's a boiled cabbage, and that was the diet. Well, hell yes, you're going to lose weight if you just eat cabbage soup. I mean, are you out of your nut? Are you? And can you imagine how pleasant these people were on elevators? Yeah. Anyway, so the cabbage soup diet. We've messed with food to make them healthier. We've created all of these sugar substitutes. We have so many sugar substitutes out there right now. And you know what? It's kind of funny. The best thing you can ever eat is real sugar, because these other products are hyper sweet and they freak your pancreas out. They freak your body out. It's like whoa. Your pancreas is going. You just put 10 teaspoons of sugar in your sweet tea, and it was really just an equal packet or a Splenda, And then, of course, there's been, I remember in the 90s, there was a thing called Olestra. Somebody came up with this oil that couldn't be absorbed in your body. And they thought that was a good idea to fry Doritos. I remember having Doritos fried in Olestra. Now, this food product, for some, I don't know how it got through being approved. But literally, they would say, you will experience pain, maybe not nausea, but pain in your intestines. And when you go, there will be an oily sheen on the water. And somebody decided, but it's not fat. And through all of these diets and all of these things and all of years ago they said get rid of butter and put margarine in your food. Get rid of lard and do Crisco. What did we do? What happened? We got fatter. We got fatter and we got unhealthier and we got heart disease increase. And all we got to do is return to what I feel are the basics. Keep a little thing of bacon fat on your stove. Why the hell not? It doesn't cause heart disease. Bacon fat doesn't cause heart disease. It does not. What causes heart disease is partially hydrogenated vegetable oil. Okay? This fake crap that we eat. So, back to the original story. Wow. I circled around for that one, didn't I? Jillian Michaels is at war with Al Roker and Andy Cohen. Okay? Jillian Michaels has invited both of them to a civil intelligence debate after making comments regarding remarks she said about the keto diet. Cohen took Michaels to task last Wednesday's taping of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, giving her the title Jackhole of the Day. There you go. That's nice. Sentiment was shared by Al Roker, who said that Michaels promoted on-camera bullying, deprivation, manipulation for weight loss. You had to get surgery, dude. So what do you got to say about a diet? You had to make your stomach the size of a thimble, and nothing against it. It worked for you. But here is Jillian Michaels' response to Al Roker and Andy Cohen.
Al Roker, Jillian Michaels here. I wanted to get back to you. First of all, please forgive the creepy outdoor vibe here. It's been a crazy day. I'm just picking my kid up from gymnastics, but I wanted to respond. First of all, I respect you very much.
By the way, Jillian Michaels is, if you are watching on video on YouTube on my channel, Rob Carson, you will see this. But right now, for those of you listening on Spoonie, here she is.
I think you know that, and I've had nothing but great experiences with you over the years on the Today Show, and you've been lovely and gracious. So thank you for that. And if you want to debate the science of keto, by all means, let's do that. But the personal attacks are bizarre, it's unnecessary, it's uncalled for, it's beneath both of us, right? With that said, I would say read my book, The 6 Keys. I've extensively researched everything in that. And nutrition is about way more than weight loss. Read the chapter on macromolecules, read the chapter on telomeres, read the studies I've cited in those chapters, and then let's debate it. I'll happily send you the book. I'm here to discuss it whenever you like.
Okay, there you go. I think that's reasonable, right? The keto diet, for those of you who aren't on it already, low-carb, high-fat plan, similar to Atkins, okay? Those on it are required to cut the amount of calories they consume by a significant amount while eating plenty of fatty foods like fish, meat, and eggs. Now, I did a diet a few years ago, was very successful at it. It was a diet program that I did in Washington, D.C., and you know what? You know why it worked? Because you had 2 small meals during the day and several snacks. And then they did a thing called lean and green at night. What is lean and green? Lean and green is the keto diet, guys. Lean and green is a serving of meat and veg. Could be leafy greens, whatever. All right? Lighten up on the salad dressings and all that stuff, but it didn't say use weird stuff that's flavored with fake crap. I think they'd have a hard time selling that if they did. But they didn't say, use weird ingredients and fake crap. Lean and green. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not a big believer in just wholesale getting rid of carbs. There are millions of people who eat bread and eat rice and eat potatoes and eat, whatever. And they're not fat. I mean, there was a guy who walked the desert 2,000 years ago with some disciples, and you know what he ate? He ate fish and bread and drank wine. I don't think those guys were fat. We replace everything with fake stuff. That's I've done it. I know. One of my mantras. Life is too short for fake cheese. Years ago, when my wife and I first got together, we were so conscious of, you got to be fat-free. Remember that? Got to be fat-free. Fat-free's bad. Or fat-free's good. Fat-free's good. Now they're saying fat is good because it's natural. But anyway, that back then it was fat-free was required. And so they made all these fat-free ice creams. They made all this. And one day I decided I was going to make a pizza and I was going to use fat-free cheese, fat-free shredded mozzarella. And I baked the pizza and it tasted like I had baked shoestrings on my pizza. And I said, you know what? Life is too dang short for fake cheese. It just is. It sucks. So the thing about the keto diet can cause massive reductions in blood sugar and insulin, helping to reverse type 2 diabetes. Get rid of a lot of the sugary crap. Eat regular meat, high fat, maybe not red meat all the time, but certainly fish, certainly chicken, certainly pork, all these things. And pork and a fish are not really high in fat unless it's salmon, really. You can do that on your own. You don't need to read a book for that. All right? Lighten up on the carbos. That's okay, but don't get rid of them. Moderation in all things and occasionally to excess. That's another mantra. Yeah, I know. I want to remind you again, one of my sponsors, and they're glorious, is Pit Barrel Cooker. Pit Barrel Cooker is a glorious product. It is, it's a big barrel. They've got two different sizes. They've got the 18.5-inch across Pit Barrel Cooker, which is, it's like a 30-gallon drum. And then they've got the 14-inch Pit Barrel Junior. All right, if you're concerned about space. I would encourage you right now to go pitbarrelcooker.com. Look at these cookers. They will last you forever. You hang the meat in them, or you can grill in them or whatever. They're absolutely breathtaking. Plus, there are a variety of different products that they have there, including accessories for your pit barrel, including rubs for the meats you're going to be doing. And they're high quality, and they're excellent. Pit barrel steak knives on there, pit barrel carving knives. There's a corn hanger, hot dog, sausage, and brat hanger. It's glorious. It's a glorious cooker, and the accessories are awesome as well. Pitbarrelcooker.com. Pitbarrelcooker.com. If you would please check it out. I'll just show my viewers what a pit barrel cooker looks right now. Pit barrel cooker. There it is. Oh, and by the way, for those of you who are watching, the food products on the right, I did in my pit barrel cooker. Yeah, I don't make this stuff up, people. No, I do it for real. This is how I live. I'm a frustrated amateur chef. Let's talk about some other food news, shall we? Lay's fried pickles with ranch chips are back at Sam's Club. I haven't had these. Lay's dill pickle chips are good. Are they mind-blowingly good? No. And I'll tell you why. Because the best dill pickle chips in the history of mankind come from the upper Midwest, and they're called Old Dutch. They're Old Dutch dill pickle potato chips. They're just the best. I'm sorry. This is not meaning to be an endorsement. I'm just stating the fact. I was just I saw my mom in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and I got some Old Dutch dill pickle potato chips. They are... And I can't figure out why they're not available nationwide. They should be, because they are stunning. But anyway, apparently these Lay's fried pickles with ranch chips are back at Sam's Club. Why do you need the ranch? What's wrong with this? Dip the chip in ranch. Why are you confusing the two? Do people dip dill pickles in ranch dressing? Do you? I don't. Why would you confuse the two? Some other regionally inspired flavors like Cajun spice, Chesapeake Bay crab spice. I've had those. Deep dish pizza are some of the other ones. They had biscuits and gravy. They do that thing where they, had people come up with flavors for Lay's chips, and they've been doing some crazy stuff with it, and it's kind of fun. But the classic dill pickle chip is just glorious. Burger King's going to give you one of their huge new burgers for free. The Big King XL. Apparently, what happened is they're taking on the Big Mac with a much bigger sandwich, and this thing is 175% more beef than a Big Mac. That means about a half a pound of meat plus American cheese, sliced onions, pickles, lettuce, and then the savory sauce that they're coming up with, which is kind of like Thousand Island dressing, which pretty much is what the secret sauce at McDonald's is. I may be wrong. If you disagree, you can write me, carsonontheradio@gmail.com. Basically, you can get it free if you use Grubhub and you order $3 or more through Grubhub or the BK or the app or the website for Grubhub, by the way. And basically, they'll throw in the sandwich. You can try it. Grubhub is currently waiving delivery fees for the promotion. So I like Burger King. I like the Whopper. The Whopper's always been a classic. I like the Big Mac. I don't eat them very often. I just don't eat them very often because there's so many other places to eat, like Red Robin. Oh, did you see? The President of the United States invited Clemson, national football champions, to the White House, and because of the strike, he said that the chefs had been furloughed, and so he brought all this fast food in: Domino's Pizza, Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, all that stuff. And the players went nuts. It was glorious. It was wonderful, and the president took a lot of heat for that. I'll just say, to a college student, that is could you imagine walking in with spread with all of this glorious fast food for free? Have you lost touch with reality that you couldn't see that a college student would go, oh, man, this is fantastic? Nick Kokanis, the owner of the Alinea Group in Chicago, which is a bunch of different restaurants there, and I don't want to throw shade on them, but the restaurants Alinea, Next, Royster, and the Aviary, has said that he would like to invite the national champions to experience what an actual celebration dinner should be. Now, to me, that sounds a little hoity-toity, all right, a little hoity-toity. And I saw some of the food being served at Alinea, Next, Royster, and the Aviary, and it looked like small plates, very artfully done. And I would have to say that while your friendliness is greatly appreciated, I think these college students would sit down and look at your plates and go, where's the food? Okay? Clemson has not responded to the invitation. Oh, there is a viral video that's going about. Have you seen this person at Applebee's taking their large beer and dumping it into a small beer glass? I have the audio and the video. If you're watching on YouTube at Rob Carson, you can see this, but you can hear it. What it is basically is taking one of the large beers, and by the way, they have these at airports too, at airport establishments. You would like the large beer for another $3 or whatever. And you'll notice the large beer is tapered at the bottom. And the small beer is a pint glass, which is wider at the top. Now, what do you think? Think about that. You've got a glass that is wider or smaller at the bottom, wider at the top, versus a glass that is pint glass. What's going to happen? Well, not a lot of liquid is going to be held in the lower part of the very tapered, almost feminine-shaped large glass. So here is the audio and video of this.
The bees in their big beer is the same size as their small beer.
A sip left in the large glass, and you're paying for that a couple dollars more. Now, apparently, Applebee's has not commented. They did add some comedic relief on social media when people made fun of them. They said, you got to leave some room at the top for foam, friend. Well, I don't pay for foam. The head on the beer is, to me, it means less beer. So there you go. Coming up, America's best brand restaurant chains, according to TripAdvisor. We'll get into that. Some of these are pretty fancy. We'll talk about it in just a couple. Looks like Domino's Pizza lost a court battle brought by a blind man over its app that prevents visually impaired users from placing an order. The chain was told by a U.S. court that its app and website must be fully accessible to blind people, setting a precedent for other companies. Guillermo Robles complained he was unable to complete his order because the app didn't work with the accessibility software on his phone. Brought the case in 2016. It was tossed. Or 2017, it was tossed. Anyway, Mr. Robles said that Domino's was in a breach of the Americans with Disabilities Act, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, anyway, they need to do this. And, I got to tell you, I am very close to, and my heart is with the blind and deaf communities because they are the most marginalized in our country. I've had several blind friends over the years, and it's always been fascinating to me. And it's also been, it's been hard to watch them struggle. with Sighted World. I had a friend who actually killed himself a few years ago because to get work in a sighted world is very hard to do. It is very hard to do. And I remember he was on the radio in college with me, and we had to label all of the records and CDs with Braille for him so he could just do a show. And I thought it was very brave of him to do it. And God bless him. Andy was his name. So, I mean, there are other ways to order pizza. You could call, but we use apps as sighted people, so I don't blame blind people for wanting to use the apps. Okay. And of course, if you're deaf, you can't make a phone call. All right. So, here's another pizza story for you. Another pizza story for you. Looks like Pizza Hut is going to expand its beer delivery. And that's good. Don't drink and drive, right? They started the pilot program 2017, and now it's 300 test stores in Florida, Iowa, Nebraska, North Carolina, Ohio, as well as more markets in Arizona and California where the project began. They plan to expand beer delivery to 1,000 stores by this summer. Woo! The announcement comes a month ahead of the, not very far ahead of the Super Bowl. So that's coming up. Current selections for beer include Blue Moon, which is good stuff. Bud Light, not a big fan. Budweiser, Busch Light, yeah. Coors Light, yeah. Corona Extra, Michelob Ultra, Miller Light, Sorry, am I being opinionated when I say that? Shock Top, yay. Stella Artois, yay. Four Peaks Kilt Lifter. I don't even know what that is. Haven't had it. So you can place orders through the Pizza Hut mobile app. All right? Or by phone. Yeah, I'm sure you got to show your ID when you get there. You got to show them. Many travelers opt for the comfort and familiarity of chain restaurants. Reviewed website TripAdvisor has come up with a list of the top ones among its users. Okay. The chains have a minimum quality average rating of 4 out of 5 bubbles and an average of at least 100 reviews per property. According to the vice president of TripAdvisor, Bertrand Yellensberger, says that chain restaurants are integral to the American dining experience as they offer consumers convenient and satisfying meals for all occasions. Wow. That sounded like he was reading it. Here we are. Top small U.S. restaurant chains with 10 to 50 locations are Eddie V's Prime Seafood. I've not been, but there's one in the Kansas City area where I live. Seasons 52. Houston's Ocean Prime. J. Alexander's, I have been. It's good, and there's one here. Fogo de Chao, which is a Brazilian steakhouse, where they bring, have you done this yet? They bring out these skewers with meat on them, and they just cut off a little bit of the meat onto your plate, and you go and you load up with, what you do is you go up and you load up with salad and stuff to begin with, and then you don't eat as much meat. That's what it's all about. But if you just want to eat meat, go get a little bit of salad and just eat and eat until you get meat sweats. The lamb is what I'm particularly fond of. Papadou Seafood Kitchen, Half Shell Oyster House, Biaggi's Ristorante Italiano, and Maggiano's Little Italy, which I'm a fan of. I've been going to Maggiano's for years. I went to D.C., and I think their lasagna is terrific. I think all their stuff is terrific. They do a great job. They do. I'm just going to say it. Let's see here. Top 10 medium chains, 51 to 100 locations are Capital Grill. Great. Expensive. Okay. Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar. Texas de Brazil, haven't been. Yard House. Brio Tuscan Grill. I love it, actually. It's quite good. Brio's, they're beautiful restaurants. They really are. They're very pretty. Portillo's or Portillo's. Morton's, the steakhouse. Again, delicious but expensive. The Melting Pot. Last time I went, was not very happy. Melting Pot is fondue. Maybe it was just that Melting Pot. Could have been. Sweet Tomatoes, which I believe is a salad bar. And another Broken Egg Cafe. Haven't been to that. Top 10 large U.S. chains with more than 100 locations. These are, according to TripAdvisor, the top-rated. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Cheesecake Factory, Bonefish Grill, Texas Roadhouse. Bonefish Grill is spectacular. Bonefish Grill, by the way, they have an appetizer there called Bang Bang Shrimp. I can make it. It's very. You ready? You want the recipe? I'll give you the recipe. Here it is. You take cornstarch and you put it in a bowl and you add sea salt, fresh cracked pepper, a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, and you make it into essentially breading. You take your thawed raw shrimp, you roll it in that, you drop it in cooking oil, whatever you want to use. I'm just using vegetable oil on this. Don't use olive oil. That's not for deep frying. Take it out, and the sauce essentially is a sweet Thai chili sauce, which you can buy in any store, and you mix it with mayo. That's it. And you toss it with a little bit of that, and then you lay the shrimp on a bed of lettuce. And that's it. And they make a fortune. Bonefish Grill makes a fortune selling that. Mellow Mushroom, I've heard of, haven't been. In-N-Out Burger, God bless it. I wish it were here in the Midwest, but I've heard it's amazing. First Watch, the Daytime Cafe, got several of them here. Jason's Deli, yep, got them here. Corner Bakery, terrific. Blaze Pizza, just kind of a new restaurant, and we've got, and I hate to make it all about, hey, I got these near my I got to go out and got to do a live Facebook broadcast from these places. Here we go. Not to incite panic, but Taco Bell is bringing back nacho fries. You remember when they were debating the nacho fries at Taco Bell, and everybody's like, they shouldn't be serving fries, it's a Mexican restaurant. Well, not exactly authentic Mexican. They're bringing them back January the 24th. You can get the classic fries with cheese, dipping sauce, loaded fries in either Supreme or Bel Grande style. And that has, a bunch of stuff on it, I guess, like everything. Honestly, everything at Taco Bell is a machination of the same thing. Well, let's do a tortilla and do some refried beans with some meat of some kind, some sour cream cheese and guacamole. Okay, here's an idea. Let's take a tostada, put some refried beans on it with some meat, and then add a little guacamole and sour cream, and some cheese. Oh, no, wait. Let's take a deep fried tortilla, wrap it around a taco, fill it with meat, put some lettuce and tomato on it and cheese. You know what I'm saying? And it's glorious. And I love Taco Bell. I love me some Taco Bell. Yeah, I know I said it. But anyway, you can get the a la carte regular nacho fries with the dipping sauce for $1.29, $2.49 for the Bel Grande, or $3.49, topped with classic Taco Bell add-on beef nacho cheese, tomato sour cream, also the $5 box with nacho fries, Doritos Locos Taco, God bless them, beefy 5-layer burrito, and a medium drink. I love Taco Bell. I unashamedly love Taco Bell. Not as much as I love Chipotle, but I do love it. We need to do a show on the best burrito places in the country because there are so many different ones that are out there. And originally, Chipotle kind of started the whole thing. Okay, make a mental note. We can do that later. Combination of alcohol and energy drinks may worsen some of the negative effects of binge drinking. Well, no kidding. This I've never understood. I have never understood why anyone would mix an energy drink, which is a stimulant, with alcohol, which is a depressant. It's going to mess with your nervous system. New study says that the key ingredients in energy drinks may be worsening some of the negative effects of binge drinking. Here's why. Basically, alcohol reduces your fear and problems in social communication while intoxicated, which collectively increase the risk of fighting, violence, and participation in risk behaviors. You put a stimulant in that as well, and you're going to be wired and ready to fight. Does this make sense to anyone? Of course it does. Of course it does. So, don't combine the two. It's not good for you. I mean, I like to drink. Don't get me wrong, but it's not good for you. All right, not. All right, we're running out of time here, and I do greatly appreciate your time today. And I will be back weekly for now, and hopefully daily very soon. We will see what happens. Okay. In the meantime, guys, if you would check out my Facebook page at Rob Carson's Table. Okay, Rob Carson's Table is the name of that. It is, I think, a pretty cool place where you can check out my food porn that I put up there all the time. Okay, we put food porn up there. And then, of course, you can follow me on Facebook, or on Twitter, I should say, at Rob Carson. Okay? Thank you for listening to my inaugural show here on Spoonie Radio. The show is called Sound Bites. See you soon, guys.